friends, welcome back to another video. This is Allison, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing some home renovations today, but on a card. So if you saw my last video, you saw that I used the new Housemaker 2 die from the stamp market. This is the card that I made with the Housemaker, the original Housemaker die. And here I'm just showing you what the back of the card looks like. This is a card I made back in January, and you can see that it's a little bit taller than a standard A2. Here is the card that I made in the last video, and they're the same width. The blue one looks a little fatter, but it's just vertically challenged, like me. So there was something about this card that I never really loved. I thought the roof was a little busy. I didn't really have the right sentiments. And when I bought the Housemaker 2 die, I also bought this new Happy Home stamp set from the stamp market. And I bought the matching dies as well. And now I have all of these new sentiments that I wish I had had back in January when I made this card. So what I'm going to do is, again, some home renovations on this little house. And I have my retractable blade out, and I'm just going to start dismantling this. Now, I could just rip the roof off and it would be a lot easier, but I am just going to show you how, let's say I put a sentiment on a card and I change my mind and I want a new sentiment. This is how I would do it. I take my blade and just very carefully, slide it off. This sentiment is actually from Sugar Pea, the Warm Welcome stamp set. And the welcome die is also from Sugar Pea. And so I can reuse that sentiment, the one that says to the neighborhood, I can reuse it. Now the welcome die, you can see it's very delicate, but I'm taking my knife and I'm just very slowly, sliding it underneath, being careful not to cut any of those delicate pieces. And again, I could rip this off very easily, but I'm very into reusing things if I can. And at worst, I could use this as a base and, cut out another welcome from another color and stack it on top of this one. So at least I can use this die for stacking purposes. But you'll see when I'm done with it, it's still in pretty good shape, and I do believe I can just reuse it as is on another card. Now there are some black pieces showing through the O's and the E's, so I'm just pulling those away very carefully. So I love this welcome die. It was too busy with the roof, and maybe I should have cut it out of a different color. Maybe that would have popped against that black roof a little bit better. But again, sometimes you envision a card a certain way, and maybe you just don't have the products to achieve that vision, or maybe you just run across a card in your stash that you made a while ago that you look at it now and you think, I would do it differently today. So that's what I'm doing. So here's the welcome. And again, it's such a pretty die. Look at it against the green. It looks great. So I will reuse that somewhere else. So now the roof, you can see I had attached it originally with some foam tape. And so there's no salvaging this roof, but I don't want to hurt the card base. So I'm going to cut the top off. And then I will very carefully, peel the rest off along with the foam tape, because the rest of the card I love. So, by the way, this video came about because I think in my very first or maybe second YouTube video, I mentioned that sometimes I go back and I take cards apart. And by the way, I'm just showing you, this is the shingles stencil. That's what I used to create this roof originally. And I think I used texture paste through that stencil. So for my new roof, I decided to use a background stamp. And I'm using this X's and O's stamp from My Favorite Things. unfortunately, I believe the stamp might be retired now. So I am just stamping some white pigment ink right on it. I'm not using my Misty because I don't want a perfect stamping. I just want some fun texture for this roof. But you'll see that I was not paying attention at all to the orientation of the stamp, so my X's and O's are going the wrong way. So I just flipped this piece of black cardstock over and restamping it, and now I have what I need for the roof. And I will cut that out with that roof die from the Housemaker set. So now that I have my new roof ready, it's time to put it back on this house. The house looks kind of bald and sad right now. So I'm putting the house on my grip mat, and you'll see I'm lining the house up with the guidelines at the bottom of the grip mat. So it will stay in place, and now I can line the top of my roof up with the lines on the grip mat, and that will just help me make sure that my roof goes on straight. And it's just really easy because the card base is being held by the grip mat, and I don't need to worry about taping it down or having it shift when I start gluing this. So now I'm coming in with a pencil and I'm marking on the house where I can put glue. I don't want to just put glue on the back of this roof because remember, much of the roof is going to be seen from the back of the card. So I'm going to put glue directly on the roof above where those scallop lines are on the actual roof. So here I'm attaching it. And going back to what I was saying, in my first video, I said that I take cards apart every so often. And one of my viewers said, I would love to see you take a card apart. So here we are. This is what I'm doing. And I think it's a great thing to do when you're not feeling especially creative. Maybe go back through your stash and find something that, maybe you can redo a small element or something. So here I'm putting on the new sentiment. This is from that stamp set that I showed you at the beginning. It says Home Sweet Home. And I love the texture on the new roof. From far away, it just looks like roof texture. Oh, by the way, here's this cute little thing I have on my desk that I wanted to show you. And I keep little hearts and stars in here. When I die cut little hearts and stars and I have some left over, I just dump them in this little jar. And then I have little hearts or stars to add to projects. So I'm just kind of testing this out, and ultimately I will pick out some white hearts. I think these are from Mama Elephant, but that's, the challenge of keeping them in a little jar. You don't really necessarily know what set they came from. But yeah, I think it's fun to go back and look at prior cards. If you're not feeling creative, change things up. I think this house is so fun now. I loved it before, but here's a before and after. And oh, and by the way, you can see I also put a front step on the new house. I didn't have one on the old one, and I think it just makes it look a lot more finished. So leave me a comment. Let me know. Do you like the before or do you like the after? The blue house that I showed you at the beginning, again, I have a video on that. I will have a link to that video. And hopefully you enjoyed seeing me disassemble a card. And let me know if you want to see me do something like that again. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.